Hey there students, we're back. And we are back with something a little bit different today. I am going to be looking at this book with you guys. And this book is all about classical music and the history of music, which is actually really neat. And that history can often sound like boring and old, but it's actually really cool to know where things come from, especially music instruments. And that's kind of where we're going to be starting. We're going to be looking at this. And this is a book called Classical Music by the Usborne Company. It's a really good book. And we're going to be getting started with it. We're going to be learning some of the early things about music. And I think you guys will find it very interesting. And we're going to get started in 1, 2, 3. What is classical music? Well, we're going to talk about it. People have basically been making all kinds of music for thousands of years, all different kinds too. They've used music to sing to dance with, to pray, and even to show off political or military power. This is a painting right here that you can see, and in this painting, this is done by a 15th century. That's the 1400s, the year 1400 painting. It's been done by Hans Memling, and it shows angels singing and playing music to God. So even then, it was used in churches. So it goes way back, obviously, right? Over here in ancient Roman times, musicians played in parades to celebrate their military victories when they would win in battles. And you can see it almost looks like they're playing some things that look like sousaphones. It's really neat. There's a big tower right there. If you scroll over here, guys, in 1717, Handel wrote water music for King George I, who wanted an evening concert on the River Thames. The king was accompanied by musicians and barges, followed by dozens of other boats. And that's kind of how it looks right there. On this river, I've been to this river, I've been to England, and on this river, basically this was a powerful way for a monarch, which is like a king, to show off how powerful their nation was, to have all these boats with musicians on the river. It's really cool, really interesting. Now, when we write music down, before there were sound recordings like phone recordings or anything that you could actually record a song on, before it was invented just over 100 years ago. So it's only been around for 100 years. A lot of music was lost forever, and because right when someone would sing it or play it, it would be gone. If they didn't remember it, that was it, and they had no way of passing it on to the next generation. So because of it, people started figuring out ways to write music down. And when they wrote music down, this is what now most people will think of as classical music. People who invent music or write it down for other people to play are known as composers. So this guy with his cool hair and these cool things on his legs and cool leprechaun shoes, he is a composer. And you can see right there, that's what music looks like. When you guys play music in class, you're playing music written by a composer. The first music writing, let's read about this. People first began inventing ways of writing music down thousands of years ago in order to help them remember and share it. This eventually developed into the system we use today. The system we use today is basically not that, but that's how it started. A clay tablet, and this was made in the Middle East, found in the Middle East and it was created about 4,000 years ago, one of the earliest surviving pieces of written music. So that right there helped people somehow remember what to sing or play. Pretty cool. Really, really cool, actually. I'm going to go over here. We'll see performing music. Well, performing music. Any music you hear was composed by someone somewhere. But music often needs other people too, as well as people to listen to it. Performers basically play and sing the music. Remember, composers, these guys write the music, but performers play or sing the music. So there's a difference. Which one do you want to be? A conductor has a different role. That's kind of like what I do with the band. I help all the musicians play and sing together. So there's conductors, there's performers, I'm going to make you dizzy, and there are composers. Interesting. Those are kind of the three things: conductors, performers, composers. Now, musical instruments. Some instruments associated with classical music today developed from earlier ones that changed over time as their technology in that time period developed. Some surviving instruments date back thousands of years, but most are too fragile to play because they just break and they're old. But here's some Egyptians, playing music. These Egyptian paintings right here, this painting that you're looking at goes back 3,000 years. 3,000 years ago. And that's before the birth of Christ. That's a long time ago, and it shows the ancient Egyptians played a variety of pipes and stringed instruments. So pipes and string instruments go far back. This illustration comes from a German Bible that was over 700 years ago, and it shows King David playing a lyre, which is an ancestor of the harp. What do we have over here? Well, you guys probably know what that is. This is a 400-year-old violin, and it's known as the Stradivarius. It's named after the famous violin maker Antonio Stradivari, who comes from Italy. Now, if you can find a violin that's a Stradivarius, those right there are worth millions of dollars because they're famous. They're so famous, and they are loud and clean, and that's what all the professionals want to get is a Stradivarius, but they cost a lot of money. Who's that guy? So it looks like he's playing a guitar, huh? This painting, this is a painting of an early guitar player by the 17th century Dutch artist. And it helps basically experts to see how the guitar was made and how it was held and played. So it looks a little bit different than we know, but it actually, that is kind of what the guitar came from. It's more or less looks like a lute and much quieter, but that's the guitar's ancestor right there. It's really neat, and it looks like this person is not wearing it over their left leg, but over their right leg, and it almost looks like they're even holding a pick, which, to my knowledge, used to be like a bird feather. So it's different. What did music sound like in the past? No one can be sure exactly, guys, what music sounded like before recording was invented. The further back in time you go, the harder it is. But there are clues from books and paintings and even early photographs about how instruments were made and how people played and sang. This is a photograph of one person right here, and this photograph is famous. It's from a famous 19th century violinist, and it's one of the earliest photographs of any musician. And basically it shows us how he held his instrument and bow. And if you're not familiar, that's still how people hold their instrument and how they hold their bow. Very cool. So now, when we come back again, we're going to be looking at this stuff, writing music down. And this is going to kind of be on our next video. This is going to be kind of where we go. High notes, low notes, writing music down. If you take a look at that, that's old music notation. So we'll be reading about that, and that'll be in our upcoming chapters, in our upcoming studies. Okay? Very cool. That's a good start for today. Also, here's another cool looking one right here. Okay. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye. Hey, guys. Hope you enjoyed our first day one of our classical music history. We'll be continuing this every week, okay? It's great stuff. Good knowledge, good stuff to know. Hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed the pictures and enjoyed the stories. See you next week.